Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. The Legacy Foundation, located right here in Northwest Indiana, is a philanthropy organization working to positively transform our communities. The foundation has awarded nearly $30 million in grants and scholarships to benefit organizations and individuals. Here with us today to discuss how the foundation helps fulfill dreams and impacts our region is Carolyn Saxton, the president of the Legacy Foundation. You have a very impressive title, doesn't it sound like?
It does.
And you're new in this job, right?
I am new in this job. I just began just about 6 months ago.
Okay, well that doesn't seem as new anymore after 6 months.
No, I guess not.
Does it feel like you're kind of into it and ready to roll?
It does feel like I am rolling.
You are rolling, okay, cool. Well, we're going to talk a lot about the organization, the Legacy Foundation, and what you do, so people understand what a community organization does. But probably the simple version of this is you raise money, you collect money, and then you turn around and give away some of that money after it earns some interest and so forth. So can you give us, our audience, a little example of, how that money comes in, or a donor who's made a gift? And
Well, over the past 6 months since I've been here, we've had a number of donors who have joined with us to help them meet their charitable goals. And one of those I could think of right off the top is a donor whose son was killed in a car accident about a year ago. And she wanted to set up a permanent fund that would support the kinds of things that he was interested in. And so he was going to Purdue University. He was in their air and science program there at Purdue. And he was also musically inclined. And so we've set up a scholarship fund so that students who might go to that Purdue campus for that same science program could qualify for scholarships, or a student who's interested in pursuing their art experiences can also have opportunities for scholarships as well.
so maybe not that one's necessarily specific, but about how much money do you have to kind of put into something like that so you can then turn around and give away how much each year?
Well, generally, we suggest that you at least start out with a $5,000 donation, but certainly you can build up to that. In fact,
So build up meaning you can add to it.
Add to it,
Okay.
exactly. A couple of months ago, I went to an event for Sojourner Truth House. Sojourner Truth House is a group that works with women who are homeless. And the event actually charged $35 a person, and there were, close to 100 people there. So it was $3,500. That was put in a fund to support Sojourner Truth for the long term. So what we do is look at how we can develop funds, help people meet their charitable goals, but build the funds that they want, that will help them support the kinds of things they want to support forever, not just in the short term, but in the long term.
So if somebody put in like $10,000, that basically is going to give them about how much to give away each year?
Generally, I would think about 5%. So that
about $500.
About $500.
Okay, so that gives people at least a kind of a rule of thumb to look
Right.
at. So if you could put $100,000 in, you've got $5,000
That's
potential
right.
to give away to whatever you want. So, and that can be the donor who basically is giving that away, or that can be you guys making a decision through some of your other general funds. So give us an example of where you just turn around the Legacy Foundation and says, here's some money. We're donating or giving this organization or individual some money.
Well, and we just recently came off our grant making process, and we do that twice a year. Actually, Lakeshore Public TV and Radio qualified for a grant, and they received one. Actually, I brought the check over today. We've also support programs for the arts. South Shore Arts is one of those groups. Also, the Miller Arts and Creative District has received some funding from us, and Habitat for Humanity is another group that we work with.
You give to hundreds of organizations, right, through all the funds you've got?
Well, we do. We have 260 funds that we manage. Our own fund is called the Lake County Community Fund, and it's from that we make the grants that we make decisions about. For instance, if you set up a fund to support an organization that you believed in, your distribution from that fund would go to support that organization. Those that are from the community fund that we manage, we make the decisions about those.
Right. I want to make sure our viewers know that we didn't have you on because you gave money to the station here.
Oh, I know, that's true.
Because it came from the fund, the decision made by the board, but the community foundation is such an important organization because you and the Crown Point community, the Porter County Community Foundation, Unity, all these are doing the same kinds of things in this region, right?
That's right. Legacy Foundation serves all of Lake County. We like to say from north to south to east to west. We're the community foundation that serves Lake County. There are other community foundations in the region, and they may be specific to a certain area or they may be specific to a certain county. There are actually 92 community foundations across the state. We're one of the most significant states in terms of the number of community foundations. And we're thankful to the Lilly Endowment for making that happen a number of years ago.
I used to call them the goose that laid the golden egg because every once in a while they kind of turned around and handed really a golden egg to the local communities and said, find another egg this similar size, right?
Right. But the interesting thing is they've just issued a new gift initiative for us. And so gifts to our community fund are matched dollar for dollar. Gifts to funds that individuals set up, like the scholarship fund that I just mentioned for that young man who was so tragically killed, that was matched 50 cents on the dollar. So it actually made the gifts go further because the Lilly Endowment is matching whatever we're bringing in for a period of time. So it's an exciting time to give to Legacy.
That really helps. As I was putting the show together, I was thinking about, when everybody plays Monopoly, right? When you get around, there's one called Community Chess that you get, $75, I think, if you land on Community Chess.
Or you get a card.
Yeah, or get a card. But yeah, because I guess you draw and it tells you sometimes what you're going to get.
Right.
But that was, the message in that was that there are people who give away money in community to help people, right? I mean, that was kind of the message of Monopoly, don't you think?
I think so. I mean, that you're building a sense of community through all of the little avenues and streets and the railroads that you pass, and then you have the opportunity to collect money and to give money and sometimes go to jail, but that's not something we talk about.
But you know something? In a modern version of Monopoly, we actually should have an opportunity to give money into a fund to support something, not just always be given a gift, right?
That's right. That
would be more realistic.
Yes.
So how do you get people to want to be a philanthropist? How do you get people to want to give money to help others?
Well, I think, intrinsically, we all are really interested in doing that. I remember when I was growing up, and this may date me, but I remember the little cards that we were given at school, and we put dimes in them for the March of Dimes. And
I remember that too, Carolyn.
And as a young child, I remember doing that. Also going, to our religious services. I was always encouraged to give, to my Sunday school class. And so I think as children, we're all interested in doing that. We're all interested in making a difference. And I think it's important to realize that that doesn't have to end. You can continue to do that. And it doesn't matter if it's the dime that went into that little card for the March of Dimes, or it's 10,000, 100,000, whatever that amount may be. You're still making a difference.
Every gift, and particularly teaching young people to do this with their dimes and quarters, is probably very essential. But what are the statistics around people giving these days, more for adults? It seems like we give children opportunities to do that all the time until they're 18, then all of a sudden they turn 19 or whatever, and the giving just like drops off to zero by a lot of people. What is that statistic? How many people really are still donating money to things? Has it dropped, changed?
I think there's different types of giving now, that particularly what we call our Millennium group or Generation X group, they're really interested in seeing their dollars make a difference, and they are donors, but they're seeing that they want to see the impact of those dollars. And I think that's why a community foundation is so important for them, because they can see that. They can direct the dollars in a way that they can see what the money's going for. They have some idea about what they want to support with their dollars, and so a community foundation enables them to do that. For the baby boomers and those that were pre-baby boomer, they're more interested in kind of reading about what it is that their dollars are supporting, but maybe not having as a direct link as that younger generation. Of course, we all have to realize that the younger generation right now, you know, they're starting jobs. They may not be making the kind of dollars that the older generation might be making, but at some point they will be, and so they'll continue that giving, and they love to volunteer.
So to maybe help people understand the difference between community foundation and, say, United Way or anything ongoing, if I had $1,000 and I said, so Carolyn, I want to support some things in the community, how are you going to explain to me the difference between how I should give that? Or how are you going to educate me?
You know, I think, Keith, what I would do is talk about what it is that you're interested in. What do you really want to accomplish with your $1,000 or whatever it might be?
Well, I want to help some organizations now, but I really like to make a difference in the long run.
And
See,
that's right.
Okay, so we've got to split it, right?
That's right. Well, but what you can do is you can put that money in to a fund that you would advise, and then you can make distributions now to those kind of things you want to support, and then know that in the future that money is going to be there to continue to support them long after you're gone.
But Lou Martinez has been asking me to give him $500 for United Way, so
Oh.
what am I going to do here? I'm going to split, give you $500 and Lou $500?
Whatever you want to do, Keith.
So it's whatever the donor wants to do. I think it's a good answer.
You know, I think that I think there's room in philanthropy for lots of different types of giving. One of the things that we like to think about is that we're going to be there, and those funds that we're managing are going to be there for the long term. We aren't as interested in doing the annual giving kind of appeal that United Way is doing. That's really not our focus, although we certainly don't turn that kind of money down. But our focus is really on looking at the long term, you know, exploring with you, what is it that you want to support? What is it that's interesting to you?
And that's why I kind of, I think in the opening, called it a savings account, and that's what they used to explain to us is, you know, one is the checkbook, you know, United Way and your church and so forth. Right. It's ongoing. You got to support it right now. That's the checkbook. But if you give to the community foundation, it's like putting in a savings account because it accrues interest and it's there forever.
Right.
And so it makes a difference. Is that a good way to look at it?
I think it is a good way to look at it. That you can support things currently from the income from that fund, but just know that it's going to be around forever.
Okay. If you look at the community right now, and again, it's kind of hard because you see a lot of different needs, but if you, maybe just as a regular citizen, what's maybe one of the greatest needs, a couple of the greatest needs in Lake County right now?
I think one of the things is looking at how we can transform some of our communities. I think that our Neighborhood Spotlight program, and this is a program that we're running at Legacy Foundation, where we're going to be working with communities in Lake County to help them collectively develop plans to strengthen their community.
So any community?
Well, right now, what we've done, we've done a series of trainings with 11 communities here in Lake County. There were 6 of those that submitted applications to us to be selected to continue more intensively over the next year. We selected 2. One is Hobart, the west side of Hobart, and the second is Miller, a Gary community. And what we'll be doing with those communities is hiring a community builder through either at the YMCA in Hobart or the Miller Arts and Creative District in Miller. And that community builder is going to be going out and really gathering people together, residents, businesses, educators, government, students, children, to talk about what they envision for their community and come up with a plan for that. So it's really coming from the grassroots. It's not us saying, this is what you need as a community, but letting them define what they think they need, and then coming up with a plan and some ideas about how those plans can be funded.
You know, oftentimes I will hear the staff in your organization say, we're about raising the money, and the board and committees and these other people really about make the decisions who to give it to. Is that, again, a good explanation of how that works?
Well, I think what we do, the Neighborhood Spotlight is totally different for us. This is a new project. And so we are focusing $150,000 of our grant making to that project. So that we're giving $50,000 to each community to hire that community builder, and we're bringing in a professional to work with those two communities. So $150,000 of our grant money is going
so
in that direction.
You're kind of looking deeper and saying, if we build capacity here, the community can improve, can rise as a whole, as opposed to just coming in and let me fix this, or try to fix those things. Now,
and we're still doing some of that.
Right.
I mean, we're still doing that with our grants. You know, we're supporting Meals on Wheels and Boys and Girls Club and Catholic Charities and other not-for-profits in the community that are providing really important services. The Maria Reiner Center over in Hobart, the YMCA. So we're still focused some of our funding on that, but really we're looking at how we can help communities decide what they really need to be improved.
Right. So the community foundations have been around nearly 20 years, is that correct?
22 years.
Okay, 22 years. And in that 20 years, you guys have given away about $30 million. And I know it's over time, it's kind of gone up. So you're giving away close to a couple $1 million every year now.
Yeah, and actually, in a recent publication of Giving Indiana, Legacy Foundation was one of the top 10 community foundations for our grant making in terms of the amount that we're giving out in our neighborhoods. So
you're letting people beat you out?
Yeah.
You're not intentionally, no.
Yeah, but we're excited about that. I mean, for Legacy Foundation to be in the top 10 out of 92 community foundations in the state, that's fabulous.
That's the top 10%. That's for sure. Now, the Knight Foundation specifically works with you. I know the Knight Foundation's out of Miami or someplace, and so they come up and kind of partner with you and say, here's a chunk of money, we want you to kind of administer it under our guidelines. Is that the way that's working?
They do. There's two things that they do with us. One is that they have what we call a donor advised fund. And this is a fund that they give money to every year. And then we've got a committee of community people who sit on that as advisors to that fund. In fact, that committee just met this past week. And they make recommendations for where that money, the income from that fund, where that should go. And generally, it's focused on Gary because the Knight Foundation works with 26 communities where the Knight family had their newspapers.
Right.
And so Gary is one of those communities. And so we're one of 26. And so they set up this donor advised fund, and so we can make distributions from that to Gary. But then we can also go to them for bigger projects to say, would this be something that you might be interested in funding? And recently they just issued the Knight Cities Challenge. And that challenge was $5 million that is going to be allocated over the next year for innovative projects that will maintain talent. And what they mean by that is young people, keeping our young people here in our communities.
And Gary has already been allocated quite a bit of that? Is that
No, this is something.
Competition's still open.
This is the competition is closed. It closed the beginning of November. It was really a simple application, 150 words about what your project is about. You didn't have to have a budget yet. You didn't have to have who all the partners would be in that, but to submit your application. And then over the next few weeks, they're going to be reviewing those applications, and they're from all over the country.
Okay.
And they will be making recommendations about which projects they're going to support. Gary may get one, they may not.
Right.
They may give all of the $5 million to one community, or they may not. So it's really based on the projects that have been submitted and how they view that in terms of meeting their goals as a foundation.
We're getting kind of close to the end here, so what's the most exciting part of your job?
I love working with people. You know, I really love working to find out what people are interested in and how we can help them meet their charitable goals. I really find that exciting, and I think they do too, because once we've been able to do that, it's transformed them and it is transforming what we're able to do.
What's the most difficult part?
The most difficult part is only being in the job now for 6 months. And, you know, I know that there's still a lot that I need to learn about Lake County. I've lived here for 12 years, but, you know, you can never stop learning.
I pick up a little bit of an accent there. Where's that little southern accent come from?
I'm originally from West Virginia.
So we've had you here 12 years?
12 years, yes.
Okay, so we have brain gain?
Brain, I guess so.
Right?
Yeah.
We always talk brain drain, but if we gain somebody like you, we've gained something here.
Well, I like to
for a
hear
region.
that. Thank you very much, Keith.
Well, I really admire what you're doing, and I know you have some great challenges, and hopefully this will educate some of our listeners to be donors and to continue their philanthropy. And we'll look forward to seeing some exciting things coming from you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks for being here. I think most of us know what the word philanthropy means. We have also heard the message, we should practice philanthropy. Many people have a reaction to the we and think they must be talking about the rich people being philanthropic. I don't think so. Let's change the message to everyone should practice philanthropy. Now it applies to all of us. To demonstrate this concept and teach my kids when they were little, we had an envelope system that encouraged them to take any money earned or received and categorize it. There were envelopes for spending, savings, college, and giving. Our philanthropy mostly focused on church, but we often talked about making donations to causes they each felt were important. Starting early allowed them to practice giving so each would understand how to do it as they grew older. By offering a quarter or a dollar, they developed the habit or understood what it meant to give. Most of us are old enough to not be practicing philanthropy, but truly doing it. Give when you can and give what you can. I know my guest today would say, stretch that donation or consider where you want to leave a legacy. Let me add, your gift can make a positive difference in the world today. Thanks for being with us and watching Lakeshore Focus. Did we help you gain a greater understanding or motivate you in some way? Your comments are welcome. Send them to our email address, which is on the screen, or reach us through our website, www.lakeshorepublicmedia.org. Don't forget that you can watch previous episodes of Lakeshore Focus from the website. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying what has already been said but is worthy of repeating. Make a positive difference in our world today.